This episode was brought to you by Munch Studio, helping you turn your ideas into content that's already done.
And so I thought, PR is the way to go in the world of beauty. Sat in a beauty closet, hysterical crying, extremely overworked. And I thought to myself, there has got to be a different way. That was like the point in time where I said, well, there is going to be a better way. One day I'll create it. You need to have like 90% certainty that it's going to work. But no, if you try and wait for 95% certainty that you will never do it. You have to be ready to at some point jump.
Blaze the trail, to step outside of the box, to do something differently. And when you have the right people around you and you know you can execute, it's worth the try. You have to believe in it or nobody else is going to.
And that's the truth, the power of she believes she could. There's going to be a lot of times where people don't think that you can.
Welcome to the She Believes She Could podcast. I'm your host, Allison Walsh. Since 2020, this show has inspired thousands of women around the world to believe in themselves and take bold action toward the lives they're meant to live. Each episode brings you powerful conversations and practical strategies to strengthen your mindset, build your confidence and brand, grow your business, and protect your well-being, all while spotlighting stories of women who are making a difference and changing the world in their own way. I am so glad you're here. Now let's get to work. You're going to love today's guest. With over 15 years of experience in the media industry, Cris Gordon has held leadership roles across both in-house and agency environments, where she recognized that many companies and the founders behind them struggled to clearly define and communicate their brand voice in competitive markets. In 2017, she launched CB Communications to help startups through Fortune 500 brands captivate audiences through strategic storytelling, modern media relations, bespoke events, and influencer programs, along with powerful personal branding. She's led million-dollar digital marketing campaigns, contributing to billion-dollar valuations for globally recognized brands, including Google, Sephora, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Bobbi Brown, and Capsule Pharmacy. Beyond her agency work, Cris is deeply passionate about mentoring founders through personal branding, media coaching, and angel investing, with a special commitment to supporting female founders. And above all, she is a proud mom of 4 who leads both in business and at home. Please welcome to the show, Cris Gordon. Well, I am so excited that you are on our show today. I have been looking forward to having a conversation with you, getting to know you, and I know our audience is going to love you too. So would you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself before we jump into everything today?
Of course. So I'm Cris Gordon. I am the Chief Brand Officer and Head of Beauty at MMC. I'm also a mom of 4, and that is like the badge of honor that I wear very, very proudly. And I really just am someone who believes in the power of storytelling, narratives, helping women, brands, CEOs, executives share their stories, make impact in the rooms that they walk into. And so my career has been a very long game of helping people navigate how to show up in the world. And it is the work that I do that I am the most proud of, outside of course, being the mother to my children. But I teach them the same lessons also. So, I can tell you so much about all the ins and outs of the world that I kind of grew up in PR, but PR is my playground. That's really I am a PR strategic, an expert in the space, and beauty, lifestyle, wellness has always been categories that I've been so naturally drawn to. I especially love helping women tell their story. It is like my true mission in life is to help women show up in rooms and in ways that they never could have imagined. So I'm honored to get to do that work. And thank you so much for having me on.
Yes. Oh my God, you're legendary. I'm just super excited for our conversation today because you've built something beautiful. We have just a very common passion of helping women shine brightly and really stand in their truth and be able to share that story confidently. But you've done it in so many cool ways. So can we rewind the tape a little bit though? Because you're here now, but you came, up a long way and you had to build something beautiful. And now you're, doing all of these amazing things. But how did it start? How did you get into this world to begin with?
All right. So, it's really funny because when I think about the world of PR, there's so many different things that have happened in my journey that kind of led me to the place. But to take it way, way back, I actually, as a young girl, was kind of trying to navigate. I'm a first generation Dominican. My dad is very intense. It's always been about what are you going to do to make an impact in this world and how are you going to show up? And I was lucky enough to grow up in a place where he told me that there was no one that was going to stop me from doing what I needed to do to achieve my goals, to accomplish the things that I wanted to, and to be a part of something bigger. And so in my own little like cocoon of life, my dad was like my biggest champion, you know, just telling me that there was nothing to be scared of. And I know now as an adult looking back, he was probably speaking from some of his own traumas of having to like fit in and having to navigate what life was like coming from a different country. And so he protected me in that way, and it made me feel invincible. But then fast forward of getting into the actual real world, and you're no longer protected by like your four walls of your house, right? So when I was younger, probably like preteen, I started to notice that every time I would go to the store, or I grew up in a very predominantly white town, which my dad was actually very proud of being able to bring us into like a world and a lifestyle that he felt was quote unquote the American dream. But the reality was there wasn't as much diversity. And so you start to kind of look around and shape your own persona. And I know that now, especially with kids, right? How impactful that is. And I would go to the store and I would like be walking up and down the aisles, and I'd be like at a CVS looking for beauty products. And I could not navigate how to figure out what to put on my hair or what foundation was right for me. And there was not as many ads that kind of were targeted toward my skin type or my hair type and all the things. And it was like that shaped me, shaped the persona of like what I believed beauty was. And I just remember being really determined to figure out why, right? I was just really curious why. So then fast forward to my first job. It was like my first big girl job. I worked at a beauty PR agency, and it was tough. And I just was like, I want to work in beauty because I want to make a difference, and I want to be able to help brands tell a different story so that people can see that beauty is what you believe about yourself. It's not about how you look. And that these beauty brands that are so massively responsible for the way that people feel about themselves, they have a responsibility. And I want to be a part of that change. I want to help them tell those stories and connect with their communities in so many ways for everyone at every age, at every skin type, at every hair type. And so I thought, you know, PR is the way to go in the world of beauty. And I sat in a beauty closet, hysterical crying, extremely overworked. Like working like 17 hours a day. And I thought to myself, wow, there has got to be a different way to get to this goal. It was just exhausting. And that was like the point in time where I said, well, there is going to be a better way. One day I'll create it. I'll create a space where people can come to work and they can love what they do. They could be excited. And they could feel creative. And they could feel like they have this community. They could feel supported. And the culture is going to be something that has so much energy that you look forward to waking up every day and hitting the ground running. Because in PR, you need to be creative, right? Like it's a job where you absolutely need to be on level 10 with creativity all the time to show up for your clients. So I thought to myself, if my team is excited and they love what they do and they feel valued, then the work that we put out into the world is going to be top tier, and our clients are going to be happy. And that's how you create this beautiful company. Now that was like Cris, that was like also had no idea what it actually took to like. I like laugh thinking about how naive I was then.
But you had the vision, right?
And
you held that vision.
I held it strong. And it wasn't like I went out and started a company the next day. No, I learned. I sat and I learned and I absorbed and I said yes to every single thing. And I decided that there was going to be no room for being scared. No room for fearing any type of risk. And I kind of like worked up calluses to like take certain leaps. And when the time came, I jumped after working, you know, at different agencies and learning and understanding the rights, the wrongs, the things that I would do differently, getting to know the people and how people felt about their jobs and just mentally tracking all of it. I worked in-house at a beauty brand. And after years of working in-house at a beauty brand, I said, okay, I think I've gathered all of my industry knowledge that I need to at least take the first step. And so I started my own agency. And it was scary. And I had a mortgage. And I feel like I need everyone to know, like, it is so scary.
It is scary.
To take a leap of faith and to believe in yourself so much. And you need to kind of be like a little insane.
Yes.
Right? Like,
thank you for acknowledging that, because I think we all have to like just come to terms with it. It's not going to feel wonderful when you do it. Like there's going to be the feels that come with it.
And you think that you need to have like 90% certainty that it's going to work. But no, if you try and wait for 95% certainty that this is, you will never do it.
Yeah.
You will never do it. And so you have to be ready. Now, calculated risk is good, but you have to be ready to like at some point jump. And I've always been the person that like I literally jump and I build the parachute in the air and I figure it out. And I am thankful for my parents for like encouraging me to do that. But also it's because I have a belief that whatever I do, I will not fail. And that failure is subjective, right? Like even if it doesn't work out the way I thought, I'm not going to frame that as a failure narrative. I'm going to frame that as a learning narrative. And that really helped me. And I think that anyone that's thinking about taking a big step can really think about reframing the way that they think of those risks. But so I started my own agency and I grew the agency for 8 years. And I just recently exited and joined as the head of beauty for MMC, an agency that is based in New York. And really we have teams nationwide. And I joined as the head of beauty to really be able to take my mission to the next stage. It was time. You know, my team came along, my clients came along. We were so excited for this transition. And now we have a bigger stage to do that together. And, you know, it's like my career has led me in so many different directions, but I've taken certain leaps when they were necessary. And we can get into all of those.
Oh, yes, please. Let's go.
But that's kind of like my abridged version of my journey. You know, a lot of craziness along the way, a lot of things that I've learned along the way, but always being very, very clear about what I stand for and saying yes or saying no based on does it fulfill my mission, my personal mission and the mission I have for my company and how I could do good in this world.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing your story because there were so many pieces that I want to unpack, but I loved what you said about, you know, believing so fully in it, right? You have to have that conviction. There's going to be days where you second guess yourself or it's hard or imposter syndrome or fear. And we talk about that a lot on this show, but it's funny. It made me think about a conversation I had actually yesterday with one of my team members. She's like, you know, you just believe so fiercely that this is going to work. And I was like, because it is, right? Like, and even if it doesn't work out the way that I thought it would, like there's so much opportunity that comes for being willing to blaze the trail, to step outside of the box, to do something differently. And when you have the right people around you and you know you can execute, it's worth the try, right? Like what's not worth it is like having regret and that sucks and we're not going to do that. But I love when you said that because it brought back that exact conversation of like, you have to believe in it or nobody else is going to.
And that's the truth. I think that, and that's why I love your show so much and the power of She Believes She Could. There's going to be a lot of times where people don't think that you can. And they are going to tell you.
Yeah.
They're not going to be quiet about it. The world's not going to be quiet about it. There's going to be haters in your corner. There's going to be things that make you second guess yourself or choices that you make that didn't work well that you're like, oh, shoot, was I not good enough? There's going to be the inner critic, which is the loudest critic. And you have to have something bigger than even yourself that you're working towards that keeps you going. Because when the days are really hard or when revenue's down and you have to figure out how you're going to pay your employees, you're going to have to figure out how to pay your mortgage, you need to have what it takes to keep going and not just like for a day.
Right.
To keep going for months and months and months and pick yourself back up again and again and again because you have such a deep belief in what you're doing and what you're bringing into the world. And that's helped me so much because I think people see me and they're like, Cris, you're so confident, you're so this, you're so, and I am, but not always and not every day.
Right. Yeah.
But I know unapologetically who I am and what I stand for. And so when I'm down or I'm having a mental breakdown at my house, crying to my husband, I look around, I get grounded in my why, I look at my children, whatever it is out there that you have that is your why, keep it present around you, whether it's on a Post-it note or whether it's your kids or your dog, your family, your house. Look around, take a breath, and keep going.
Yeah.
You know?
It's such good advice. And, you know, I resonate too with what you said earlier about, you know, you jump and you'll build the parachute as you go. Like there have been so many instances and even back to an earlier point, like you can't wait till you're 90% ready. Like some of the biggest, boldest jumps have come when I was like 60% ready, right? Or maybe even a little bit less, but that belief in what was possible. And it was just the timing. Like the timing's never going to be perfect. Ever. And so like stop waiting for some magic timing clock to go off that says it's time to move on this stuff. I think back to when I went full-time entrepreneurship. I had been in behavioral health, building healthcare startups, and I'd had businesses on the side that had done very well. So I had confidence in my ability to build something on my own. But it was not a great time when I had to take the leap, but it was the right time for my family. And it was that life choice. So back to the talking about why, right? My why was that my family needed me. My daughter was sick. I needed to be present. And I had the coolest, best position I possibly could have had in the industry that I was in. It was such a privilege, such an honor, but it wasn't right for me anymore. And I knew if I trusted myself enough to do what I had done for other people, that I could do it for myself. And I mean, what a blessing. But holy crap, I was scared out of my mind, you know?
You know, it's scary, but I commend you for that because number one, what a great role model you are.
Thank you.
And to not only your family, but the women that look to you, right? To tell yourself like, wow, I have to also do this because I'm teaching women that they can do this. And that is a part of your why. And also congratulations to your daughter who I heard just achieved such a wonderful accomplishment.
Oh, her TEDx. Oh, 14.
Are you kidding me? That is unbelievable. But
so proud.
But I say that because it's a testament to the decision that you made that day.
Thank you.
Right? That she saw that everyone in your world saw that, no matter how young she was at the time, no matter what. It's like they absorb it, they see it, they feel the energy, and you carry that forward. And for me, like, it's always so much bigger than like me, right? Like, and it's funny because when you have a why, it's personal, but it's never about you, right? It's the why is oftentimes so much bigger. You're the one to fulfill it. Mm-hmm. So in the process of fulfilling it, it's like, I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to do this, right? And it keeps you going. Yeah. But the why is always bigger. It's about the people that you can impact. Mm-hmm. And for me, and also listen, like I'm in PR. Yeah. I'm a storytelling expert. And I knew that I needed to fulfill my story. And for a long time, I was like the woman behind the woman, right? And that's what I was known for, and that was kind of my specialty. It's why people hired me. It's why people wanted to work with me. It would come up to me like, Cris, I just want to like do kind of whatever you do. Like, how are you like you? And I'm like, I want you to be like you. Yeah. I want you to be the best you. Mm-hmm. I can be a part of that journey that I'm honored to take you there. Yeah. Right. And so figuring out how to navigate that and seeing a woman in front of me who's done it so well, so much so that her daughter goes on to do a TEDx, the youngest TEDx, you know, is unbelievable because it means that you're so grounded in your why and your story and you're sharing that with so many people. You have a platform to do it. The personal brand is branding, honey. You know what I mean? And not just because it's all about you, but because it's about through building a personal brand and through being yourself and through being vulnerable and showing that and making these choices throughout your life, you are now able to make a bigger impact.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yes. And I mean, I couldn't agree more. And I often think about, you know, you're in the best position to serve the person you once were, right? And when you can show up and you can share your story and you can show other people what's possible and you can speak life into them and help them radiate, right? And, you know, I always talk about like holding up the mirror for another woman and speaking life into her and saying, look at you, like, look at all of the things you've done in a world where it's so easy for us to just tear ourselves down and comparison culture is so real. And like, you know, loss of like really who you are is so prevalent because you're chasing somebody else's definition of success. Like when you can hold up that mirror and show them what's possible, it is the greatest gift that you can give somebody. And I've loved being able to do that for so many women. And I know you love this too, of just like when you see them actualize their potential and step into who they are, it is a special experience and it's an honor to witness. And I love that. And there's so much more of that we all need to do. I mean, we all have, every single person listening has something that we can share with other people that could make a difference in their worlds and their life. And, you know, I know you love to speak and be out there. I'm seeing this event. That's why you're in town. Like, I mean, you know, I'm going to be on a panel tomorrow and I'm thinking about the people that are in the audience and what do they need to hear? Like, who am I a mouthpiece for tomorrow that is looking for that inspiration, that's looking for that wisdom and needs something that's going to help her take that next step? And I feel like we are, all of us, everybody has that ability to make a difference. We just have to be willing to share. We have to be willing to show up. And I always say, like, shine bright and achieve abundant success. So let's keep going.
Yes, I love it. And so many women are, I think there's a fear that when you boast the thing that maybe you're good at, or you show up in a way that seems a little bit louder than normal, that it could be taken the wrong way, or that people will start to ask you, well, why you? Why are you? Why are you good enough to share that? Why are you someone that people should listen to? What do you really have to offer? Which, by the way, is usually the inner critic. Mm-hmm. Then that mirror that you're talking about, that is a mirror that I love to help women see themselves in that mirror. Sometimes you, especially a woman like yourself, a woman like me, because we are confident in who we are and because we are so unapologetic about the mission that we have, sometimes that mirror can actually like scare them and intimidate them. And it's obviously never our intention, but we also can become almost a reflection of what they are so worried about for themselves. And so the other piece is like navigating the inner child, the work that you need to do to make sure that like when you step into these rooms and you're around these women that want to see you shine, that you're accepting that help in those open arms instead of rejecting it.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. I have a mentee that I talk to every Tuesday morning, and she said to me recently, and I'm very open. I'm very like, I just share like the good, the bad, the ugly. And
that's me too.
Yeah, it's like
everyone knows that my house is a mess. And my kids are crying. I'm like, help me! I'm almost gonna miss my flight. Everyone on Instagram knows.
But she said to me, she's like, please never stop telling me the real truth. Right? Please don't ever not share the hard times, because she's, about 15 years my junior. And she's like, I need to know these things because otherwise I hold myself to an unrealistic standard. Yep. And the world is already telling me enough things I don't need to hear. And I was like, wow, like such a powerful reminder of like just being honest about the journey, about the good times, about the bad times, about the things that I wish I would have known earlier, right? Like those are the nuggets of wisdom that can really be transformative. And I know I'm certainly grateful for the people that did that for me, because they were just like rocket fuel for me, because it was like, okay, I am who I am. I'm okay with my flaws and my imperfections. And I trust myself enough to get up today, to put my clothes on, to get out there and go for it. And I'm not going to hold back because I think that I'm not good enough. If you're a business owner or content creator, you already know how hard it is to stay consistent on social media. Coming up with ideas, writing captions, designing posts, and actually getting them scheduled. That's why I've been using Munch Studio. It doesn't just repurpose your content, it creates complete, ready-to-use posts for you. Graphics, captions, formatting, even scheduling. So instead of wondering what to post, your content is already done, giving you back the time and energy that you need to focus on building your business and brand. Check out the link in the show notes for more information. The right room changes everything. Your clarity, your confidence, your revenue trajectory.
The She Believes She Could Summit is a curated, high-impact gathering for women building intentional, scalable platforms.
This isn't a massive conference. It is a strategic room, a room where you finally articulate what you've been trying to say, where you refine your positioning, where you build beyond the algorithm into ownership and sustainable growth.
One powerful, focused day in Orlando. Smart strategy, curated conversations, real momentum.
And for those that are ready to move from clarity to execution, there's a VIP day, the Visibility Lab. It's an intimate guided studio experience where you turn your refined message into professional, high-level brand assets, filmed, produced, and ready to elevate your platform immediately.
Day 1 is clarity. VIP day is execution. May 7th in Orlando.
If you've been craving proximity, strategy, and expansion, this is your room.
And the world doesn't need to see this completely perfect version of anyone.
Right.
And so it's also fair to say that when we're telling people you can go out and you can do something, you have value in this world that you could bring. And if you could even help one person, then you're doing your job in life to pay forward the wonderful things that you have to offer. If they're thinking, well, I'm not ready, or I can't do it, or I'm not good enough, or why would I? It's because of all those things that actually makes you the perfect person to do it.
Yes.
Right? And
Preach.
being vulnerable and
Yes.
sharing that along the way, right? And of course, you and I have had opportunities to grow our personal brand or to to fine tune what we offer. Yes, of course. But that took time too, right? So to me, it's really important to be able to like kind of like strip down those walls, even on my own, on my own Instagram. I mean, I'm very honest about the challenges that I have as like a mom who travels a lot away from my kids. Like you will kind of see all of it. Like, and I will always be honest that like, I'm not the one cooking dinner every night. I have a live-in au pair and she's helping with the laundry. Like, because otherwise I've noticed even the women in my life that are my friends are like, Cris, how do you do it all? And the first thing I say is, honey, I do not do it all.
Right. I got support.
I'm like, but do you want to know what support I have? Because if you think that this is either easy or unattainable, I can actually tell you exactly what I'm doing and you can find a version that might work for you so you don't feel overwhelmed either. And that's what I always love to offer to people, right? Is that like, of course, listen, I'm a publicist. Like I have to show up ready in glam and all the things. Like that's a part of my job.
In the beauty world, nonetheless.
Exactly. Like I am the head of beauty. So it's like I need to show up and I need to be the part, but that doesn't mean that I can't be honest and vulnerable and transparent. I'm a very, very honest person. I'm a very honest publicist, right? Like I will tell a brand straight to their face what I think that they are doing wrong or what they could do better, how they can improve. But that also means that like they're going to see every side of me and I'm not a censored person, right? It's like I can still be polished and poised and media trained and also be vulnerable and be honest. And everyone has to kind of find their groove. That personality is also not for everybody, right? But it works for me. And it's where I feel like I am in my highest and my best, where I provide the most value and where I feel like I'm fulfilling my own mission and ultimately where I'm the happiest. And I need to, at this point in my life, I've made a declaration to myself that I have a responsibility to show up as the woman that I want my kids to see.
Absolutely. And it's a huge responsibility.
Yes.
Because it's caught, not taught, right? They're going to copy what they see. And, back to your story about your dad, just like pouring life into you and teaching you that you could do anything that you set your mind to. Like if you show up with that type of energy, your kids are going to conquer the world, like at least in their space and place, and that you can foster that and nurture that. And that's so important as a mom, especially. So thank you for sharing that. And, you've had success. Okay. So you've exited. What's next? Like, what are you working on? And like, what's exciting right now? Because that's a whole process, and that's a whole episode that it could be on its own, right? Is that?
It's
but
the truth.
That's a transition. But what are you excited about and lit up about now?
So, it was really a fun and exciting challenge. We have elevated at MMC. We've elevated the beauty practice to its own practice. They've always done work in beauty, and they're known for working with a lot of big beauty brands. But they've always had a consumer practice, health and well-being, a corporate practice. And now we've elevated beauty to its own practice. And so I've been tasked with the job of ultimately figuring out how we're going to show up in the world today as a beauty practice, because beauty is very different from healthcare and from corporate and from even consumer. It moves faster. They're a little bit riskier. They take risks. They like to have some guerrilla marketing. It's like beauty is just a different world. It moves at the speed of light, and beauty companies are wanting agencies that are setting trends, not just following trends. And that's where I get excited.
Love that for you.
Because we have the best team. I mean, every single person that I've had the opportunity to work with, that I've had the opportunity to get to know throughout the process in the last couple of months are A players, and now it's time to let them shine. And I just hope to be like a vessel for that, right? So we're creating an ecosystem for the modern marketer called Brandedly Speaking. And it is our way to give the world, whether it's at a founder level, where it's really small startup, you're making soap in your kitchen, to a high level company that just maybe sold or exited to one of the big conglomerates, a service, some type of service. Now there will be an ability to enter into our world and receive some of the work that we do for our clients that we've previously done at a very high level at an attainable price, at an accessible place where you'll have access to us and all the wonderful things that we have to offer, and where we can also learn from these brands too. Right. And so now we can service a brand at any stage in their life cycle. We're going to have digital courses launching very soon. It's actually launching in less than a month. And we have a podcast that just launched that we will be, kind of every Wednesday. We have episodes that go live. And it's been so much fun. We have such an amazing lineup of guests, and our clients will have the ability to be on. And there will be something for everyone. We have these really fun social skits that we're doing where we're able to show like the team's personality.
That's so fun.
It's been so much fun. We have been like laughing and just kind of like being silly and testing things out, and we're learning and we're testing. And so it's fun for us as an agency to go through that process and kind of figure out how it works, how this kind of like startup entrepreneurial vibe feels in a company that is so big. But the great thing is a company that is big with resources and the credibility in the space and the awards, to be able to bring something to the public in such a fun, unique, and different way has been a fun challenge for all of us, right? So I was kind of tasked with this job. I came in being like, okay, I have this challenge ahead of me. And then it became, wow, we have this challenge that I'm no longer like alone doing these things.
Right.
That's the other part of the transition, right? I was like the little engine that could for years, for 10 years I was alone and just having to rely on myself. And I had an amazing team, but you know how it is when you're the business owner, it's like it lives and dies with you. And now to have all these resources to step into and all these amazing team members that are, giving ideas and thinking through different ways that we could do this, it's such a blessing because I had never had that before. And so just getting different perspectives. So we're launching all these amazing programs. We have different tiered programs where they can come in and even do just a project with us. I just wanted to be able to make a change in the beauty industry. And when I brought that idea to the team, they were like, let's go. The CEO, Olga Fleming, was really like the big push behind this happening. She's the one that brought me in. She saw the vision before I even like materialized what the vision was. And now we have this like think tank of team members behind us working all together to bring this because we want to see every brand shine no matter what. We want to see the founder that is starting out, that doesn't know what to do and maybe wants to get some of their own visibility and just wants to get a little confidence in their decision-making as their own CEO. We want them to watch our digital course and feel empowered so that they can take the next step to be a big brand. We want to help them through their exits and their visibility plans to get investors. We want to be there for every single stage of their business, not just when they get to the point where they can afford a big, large retainer, right? We want to be there to help them be able to afford that large retainer because then they can do events and large-scale influencer campaigns and all of the things. But we recognize that that doesn't all happen on day one. And if we're going to make a difference in the beauty industry, we need to be able to make a difference in the beauty industry. We need to be able to offer them something. And so we pooled our resources on what are we amazing at and where can we provide this to people at an accessible price point. So I'm so excited.
I can feel the energy too, which is like I can tell how like
we're
genuinely,
so proud of it.
Well, and I mean to your point, like you're able to reach behind and say, we believe in you. Here are the resources that you need. Fly, girl, fly, right? Like go, like let's go. Well, and that's going to make a huge difference too. When they do have the resources, they're going to turn to you, right? At that point, there's going to be that trust, that loyalty because you invested in them by creating the resources that help them get to that next stage. So,
and we let them feel heard, and we're going to do community events. We just had our first event in LA literally a week and a half ago. And it was amazing. We had amazing beauty industry experts and brand founders and executives come together and just have a dinner. And we want to bring those events to everyone in all different parts of the country and allow people to just get together and have this night where they can just get to know people, chop it up in business, understand what they need to do next, have like an ear to what's new in the industry. If that can help their business, then we have done our job. And so I'm really proud of what we've built. It has been like a race to get this out. I mean, it has been truly, I'm like on a new level of like, how, I thought I've done it all at this point, but also like while we're navigating how to actually fit this into a corporate environment, right? There's a lot of change, but we're so determined to make this happen that there is literally no challenge that we have not been able to overcome because we believe in the vision so much and how it will help impact businesses in a positive way. And we're going to be rolling it out to other practices, right? Like
I was just going to say, this is definitely able to be replicated in other places and spaces. So.
We're kind of like the test, right? So we're analyzing the data and understanding what's working and tweaking all of the, all of the packages and things that we're offering. And then we're going to replicate that across the business and health and well-being. And we're doing some fun stuff at South by, but we are definitely going to take this across the board in all the different practices and figure out how it works for that space. Because as you know, and
there's
you
going
were
to be
in
nuances.
There's going to be differences for the worlds of beauty to the world of healthcare. And so we're really excited to bring that to new channels, new ways. And brandedly speaking is really like the umbrella. right? It's really like the umbrella brand that is going to host all of these amazing, whether it's, like I said, digital courses, podcasts, UGC style content that we're able to build for clients, if they want to appear in our social skits. So it's really it's the house. The house is all of the things that are, next for brands.
Oh my God, I love this. I can't wait to just like watch this unfold too and just like cheer from the sidelines.
Oh my God,
this is so good, right? And I can see just your passion for this. And you've got other projects you're working on too to really help the next generation. So can you share more about that as well? Because this is beautiful.
Thank you. Well, beauty is something that I am endlessly thinking about every single day. And as a mother of 4 children, all under the age of 6, you start to kind of see even how your habits impact them. And I think there's a lot of discussion in the world today, especially because social media makes it so easy for us to talk about openly of, okay, kids are using these products and, how is that affecting the way that they see themselves? And it's been concerning and scary, but at the same time, it's probably not something that is new, right? Like I was younger and my mom sold Mary Kay and I was going into her little Mary Kay box and picking up eyeshadow and trying it on myself too. But nowadays, because the world is scarier and we have more access to things and kids have more access to cyberbullying and all of that, the way that they see themselves becomes polarizing, kind of like that mirror we were talking about, right? They see someone on social and all of a sudden they wonder, do I need to be wearing that thing? Do I need to be doing that thing? And so as someone who really wants to make an impact in the beauty industry, my sister and I also have a local business on Long Island that is opening next month and she is really like she's the creative and like, this is her space where she's so good at. She's a licensed cosmetologist. And we are opening a space called the Sweet Sparkle Society. And it is a social emotional learning space where there will be celebrations, so birthday parties, celebrations, workshops. And we partnered with a licensed therapist and childhood development experts to come up with a curriculum so that every single party, every single class that we teach is not just about how they look. It actually has nothing to do with how they look. It's all about how they feel. And so it's disguised as a beauty salon, right? All the fun of dress up and all the things that we know that kids love, but the hidden results behind it and kind of the hidden goal behind it is a space where they walk in feeling one way and they walk out feeling like the best version of themselves because of how they feel and not about how they look. So we've done psychological things like cover up the mirrors and they don't see themselves until the end of the party. All of the parties have to do with a social emotional skill that they will be learning, whether it's like, the act of friendship and working together, or, they'll even be asked when they walk in, instead of like, what do you want to wear? What princess do you want to be? It's like, how do you want to feel?
Yeah.
And they're like, I want to feel confident. I want to feel kind. We will have the tools and the different options and even the color psychology is there. It is all connected so that we can support them. And the workshops will do the same thing. I mean, the workshops, we're even going to partner with like the local pediatrician to make sure that kids feel not scared to go to the doctor. So it'll be like a dress up day where they get to play doctor, but really they're learning these critical skills in their lives. We'll be doing like, whether it's mommy, daughter or son nights, or daddy and me nights where dads get to learn how to do their daughter's hair, because me and my sister both had our hair. But when we were younger, my dad would do our hair and he would, oh my God, that's a whole other episode. But we want, parents to feel empowered to have conversations with their kids and to navigate this world that is so crazy. So everything, there'll be classes for older kids about safe skincare and feeling your best and cyberbullying and making sure that we're teaching them social media safety. So there is something for kids ages 3 up until 14. And if there's a desire for a higher age than that, like we're open to it. We're just going to see where it goes. So we're excited about that.
I love this. I mean, I have such a passion for everything that you just talked about, having spent so many years in the mental health space, right? And especially after walking alongside my daughter who was bullied, who was body shamed for a year of her life by a peer, that was torture. And the way she saw herself changed. And she talks very openly about it. That's the only reason I'm sharing, but she's very open about how important it is to have these conversations and to equip each other with what we need to be able to show up as our highest and best version of us, right? Regardless of age. So starting early, having those conversations, equipping them with what they need is so powerful and literally life-changing. So
it's where it came from. I have media trained women for a long time on their personal brand and how to show up as an executive. And some of the women that came to me, by the time they got to me, I'm like, I wish we had this work when we were 5, So it almost was, me sitting down and my sister who's like naturally into like throwing parties and to my sister, like everything in life should be celebrated. And that's what I love about her. She never forgets the small things, right? So that's the kind of person that you want throwing your birthday party, is the person that believes that every single day is a celebration and that kids deserve to feel special. And so I was like, we need to take this a step further. It can't just be about that. It can't just be about dress up or getting your hair done, right? It has to be about more. And there are women that are growing up thinking a certain belief about themselves, and that's affecting them when they're in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s. It's affecting their success. And so how can we get to the root of the problem? And seeing my own daughters and my own kids, like, it was like, wow, this is how we can do this. And so we have like a mission very deeply to fulfill. And also, like, as the head of beauty at an agency, if I'm just doing one job and I'm not doing the bigger job to do the work, then the role will ultimately not be fulfilled, right? The goal will never really reach the goal. We have to be a part of something bigger. And so and plus, like, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So it's like, I can never just take on one thing. My husband's like, you have to have 6 jobs. But and that comes back to the support system. I'm like, yes, I can.
Yes,
you have a good support system. That's why I got a business partner that's running the show while I go do my job, So it's like, there are so many ways to make everything happen that you believe in, and also for things to work together. And that's an important part of personal branding in general, is like, you can do everything. Make sure that make sure it's cohesive and it fits in your world,
Yeah, definitely. I love this. Well, I could talk to you literally for hours, but I do have a couple questions that I love to ask every guest that comes on. So in the spirit of She Believed She Could, we all have these defining moments where you had to believe in yourself in order to be able to do the thing. Is there one in particular that maybe we haven't talked about today that was a critical point on your path where you believed you could and you did?
So I had my second son, and I had literally just had him. I was in the hospital after I gave birth, and it was like a really crazy birth. Like, I had him in like a matter of like a couple of minutes. It was like, the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck and and I had to get on a call for work. At the time I had my company, and like within minutes after giving birth. And I always say that when I think of something that I'm scared of to this day, I think about that woman in that moment and how I would never let her down, because I had just gone through something crazy, my body, my mind, and I showed up and I got on that call and we did what we need to do, and the company was better for it. And it was a moment where, like, I was faced with something and I knew what I had to do for the company and for us to continue to advance and for us to be able to, like, provide the level of service and show up and to scale, all those things. So I knew I had to do this, right? Even when I was like feeling all out of the way. And because I proved to myself that I could, and my husband took a picture, and I still look back at that picture. And I guess the reason why that moment sticks out to me so much is because that moment actually got me through way harder moments. Because I said to myself, and I literally have this picture, and my husband will show it to me on days where I'm like really, really down, where I'm like, I don't think I can keep doing this. Oh my gosh, I'm tired. Oh my gosh, like, my kids are sad. They miss me. Like, my daughter cried before I left even to come here. Like, it's hard out there, guys. It's hard out there. But I think back at that moment, or I look back at that picture, and if I'm scared to do something or take a risk, or if I ever had nerves getting on stage, I'm like, I would never let her down. I would never let her down. The woman that gave up everything to get here, she did it because she believed in the version of who I am right now. I owe it to her. And so I guess that's my answer.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, and you can trust yourself. You showed up. You showed up for where you needed to, for who you needed to, and most importantly for yourself.
Yes.
So I mean, those defining moments, and again, like when you have also a visual representation to remind you of it, like on the days that are hard, it can really help pull you through. So, okay, last question. Who inspires you? Who do you look up to? Is there somebody that our audience needs to be aware of or be soaking up their goodness to?
That's a great question. And there are so many women that I look up to. I too many to name, because my whole life, my whole career, there's been so many people that have like shaped my world, have helped pave the way for things. I I feel so deeply grateful to not even be able to really answer that because I look up to so many people.
What a blessing.
It truly is. And I feel so lucky to have this because I see it. They've like led this path that's open for me. And so it's, you know, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, there's a bunch of women that I've either, you know, come into their lives as like someone that they've mentored me, like Jacqueline Johnson and Maureen Middleton, who are the founders of Create and Cultivate. There are so many clients and so many like executives at brands that we've been able to just like have a relationship. I mean, the CEO of MMC, like she's unbelievable. Her career has been unbelievable. And so to be able to be lucky enough to have all of these amazing people that have shaped and paved the way for me and have showed me that I can also do it is great. And then honestly, like I look up to my kids, especially my firstborn, who's now old enough for me to really understand her personality and see she's so interesting and she's so curious and she's so smart and she's so brave. And she like wears her emotions on her sleeves and she's not scared of it. And she just says the thing and she'll say, but you know, that's just who I am. And I look up to that because I'm like that. How beautiful is it to see someone who's so young, just know who she is. And when she doesn't know who she is, just say that she's scared. Like that's something I hope she never loses. I hope that she always feels like she has a world and a support system where she can just show up and be herself. And so, you know, I'm lucky. I look up to women like you. I mean, this is to be on this podcast, to be able to share my story. And it's an honor, truly.
Thank you. Well, I just love all the things that you are doing in this world, and I am a major fan of yours and cannot wait to just continue to see you blaze the trails that, you know, are still ahead of you and the difference you're making in the world and the intentionality around it and the purity of purpose, I think is what just really came through in everything that we talked about today. So thank you for being a light in this world, and thank you for all you do and for, you know, just being an inspiration to every single person you cross paths with. So thank you for being on our show today. I love this.
Thank you so much.
Where should people connect with you? Where is your preferred avenue of choice, platform of choice?
Yes, amazing. Well, you could follow me on Instagram at Cris Gordon PR, and Cris is Cris Gordon PR. And you can follow us at Brandedly Speaking, Brandedly_speaking. So excited for everyone to follow along.
So exciting. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. I am so grateful that you are here. As always, please continue the conversation over on Instagram at Allison Walsh, and make sure that you check out all of our freebies. If you scan the QR code, if you're watching on YouTube, or check out the link in the show notes, it will take you to a page full of resources and trainings and things to help you go farther, faster. And that is always my intention, is to help you continue to grow. And as always, I believe in you 1000%. And my goal is that you do too. Take care, beautiful. I'll see you next time.